promise to help each other, celebrate the joys of life, and to console each other.
Hello. I am sorry, but I must interrupt this show. Later, you know what it is. Hey, ham solo. It's time, baby. Low. Let's turn out we do. Hey. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we gone. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said strong. They said we said we gone. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you man. I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you in red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of BullSittin with Ham Solo, Matt Likes Games, Mental 9R, Cozy Beluga. Loke was here. He's doing just fine, kinda. He had some stuff that he didn't quite get with him as he traveled, so he will be in the comment section just kind of kicking it with us today. But he provided us with all the topics, so we're going to kick back, have a good time, talk about some topics, talk about, of course, what we've been playing as of lately. I mean, there's a lot of crap that happened in the last week, especially with Gamescom, and there's a lot of feelings that's, currently hurt right now.
Same old.
Just kind of the same old. I mean, I think that's the best way to put it. just more of the same. Nothing's changing under the sun. So, anyways, so let's go on ahead and go down the line and see what's been cracking with everybody, how everybody's been doing, what they've been playing, and I'm actually gonna have a good time by asking Cozy first and foremost. What the hell you been doing, girl? What you been up to?
Gee! So for those who don't know, this is my last weekend of freedom. So school starts next week.
So you're getting married?
No, ew.
Nice. She has twins on the way.
God damn. You guys! Stop! Yes!
Go! Let's go. Show us your belly. No, I'm just kidding. You ain't gotta do all that.
Going back.
You ain't gotta show off the twins. They coming. We excited for you.
Yeah. I got school. It starts next week.
It starts
my
on
last
the weekend?
next week. This is my last week of freedom.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about just like assignments and stuff to do.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get it. That's a lot. No games still. As of right now.
No, but I
remember you said you didn't want to play nothing until you played Elden Ring.
I actually because I have caught up with everything that I needed to do. I am making sure I'm ahead, and so now that I am actually factually ahead, I will probably be starting Elden Ring and playing it nightly. Because I'm caught up. And I have to wait for my assignments and stuff like that. But other than that, I've got everything up to date in life.
All right. Well, simple enough. Mental 9R, you're here with us. You're on time. You must be having a pretty good day.
Yeah, can't complain. Happy to actually make it on time for once.
Well,
but
I
it's
was
been
thinking
rough
more or
lately.
less like you're finally not like busy with like something like happening, something you got to fix. I imagine like
Yeah.
I imagine with like IT, you're always just kind of like on call, right?
He's a fake
So,
Yeah.
employee. He doesn't do anything for real. We know what he does. He goes to work. He spends all his day on social media scrolling through his phone. He's like, man, today was such a hard
Right.
day, and goes home.
Yeah, I
I'm
wish it
happy
was
to
like
get you
that,
here
but
for the topics and everything today. It's going to be a good time. Um,
oh yeah, looking
I
forward to it.
want to know what you've been up to though. What's been cracking the last week for you, brother?
I have been playing a bit of Flintlock.
Oh,
Now that
Okay.
it's been patched a bit, it doesn't stutter quite as bad as it did when it first launched. It was horrifying.
Fair enough.
So it's a little better. I've been playing some Death's Door as well because I never played that way back when. So I've been playing that. Some Halo Infinite with my kids. We've been doing the campaign on Legendary because my daughter never finished the campaign, so we've been doing that too.
oh.
And yeah, that's what I've been up to for gaming.
All right,
Good
Matt.
times.
What's your punk ass been up to, man? What have you been
What
up
I've been
to,
up
bud?
to,
What have you
man,
been doing?
playing a little game called
You're not playing
Starfield.
anything. You ain't playing nothing.
A little indie game called Starfield. Most people haven't heard of it. It's a very small game made by a very small studio. But no. Starfield,
Heard it was
since they did the
trash.
update. Yeah, that's the unanimous consensus online is that it's trash and you should never play it. But yeah, that since they did the update, they added a vehicle. I've been on that. Last night I got Kingdom Come Deliverance off of GG Deals. Shout out to Mental 9R. I have to say that
Nice.
every time I mention GG Deals because he's the one who told me about that.
Right.
Got like $7 for like the Royal Edition.
I need to cop that
So
still.
I was playing it
How's
on
it look?
Steam Deck. It looks great on PC. Like just at my desk, it looks great. On Steam Deck,
What's
actually,
it
it
running like?
surprisingly looks good on Steam Deck too. But then
Oh,
again, it's smaller screen.
so this is just well optimized at this time.
It seems like it is. Seems like I mean I know Mike said he had like some performance issues with it when he tried it, but like we more or less have the same computer, and I didn't notice any sort of issues with mine. So it looked really good though. I played about an hour and a half, 2 hours of that last night. It's really in
Cool.
depth. That game is very in depth. Like there's like sword fighting, just hand to hand combat, like dialogue and stuff. Like it's really really in depth, but it's pretty cool once you get the hang of it.
Nice. I see Mr. Joanna Dark said in the chat that he's been playing Black Myth Wukong on PC. I'm almost done with with the third chapter, is what he just got done saying. So, congratulations to you. I heard that game is freaking amazing. It looks really fun. It's just not something I want to play currently. Right. I don't want to pay full price for something I'm not sure if I'll enjoy right now. I'm not feeling like I did when Elden Ring came out. But Elden Ring also had that kind of multiplayer mode that kind of pushed me over the edge. Right? That was like, all right, well, you can play with somebody eventually. I didn't know how much it would suck to play with other people, but like I just heard co-op and I was like, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that might be what's missing in some of these games for me. And that's why I'm just kind of like tired of them because it's just like I can be alone in a lot of games, right? But like in a Souls game, I think it would be nice to have the option to be able to play with somebody else. But like Elden Ring, it was like playing with somebody else didn't make it easier.
No, you had to go.
Like I really respected that about Elden Ring as much as it pissed me off to the core. Like getting like that dude stomping over and fucking over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Like, it was just terrible, man. It was awful.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like playing it solo, you can dog walk them damn near. If you know how to
That's
play
the
the game, you can dog
Yeah,
walk.
that's the great thing about that is you play with friends, you get your ass beat for a while. You have fun, but you get your ass beat, and then eventually you're like, okay, I'm just gonna try this by myself. And then you try it by yourself, and it's way easier. Because whenever you play with friends, they like up the difficulty by however, like I think you can play with up to 3 people, so they like 3 times the difficulty whenever you're with a full party. And then you go back to play it solo, you're like, this is easy as hell. This is not an issue anymore.
All right, Mr. Joanna Dark's being an asshole now. And he's flexing. And he decided to say, hey, TSWS Gaming, I got it on PC for $46.
You didn't want to buy it on PS5 and use frame generation to get from 30 to 60 FPS and not really
Isn't
get
it
there most of the time?
$70 as well?
Yeah, you didn't want to spend 70 there?
That's
You can do
great.
that?
Like,
You didn't want to support the devs?
That sounds like a bad deal
I
on
mean-
your end.
Mr.
hey, Joanna Dark.
If you're okay with 30 FPS, which I'm a person that can play a game at 30 FPS, I'm not gonna sit there and complain because I have the option on a PC to hop up if I want to, right? But like for the most part, like I'm not that like super particular. Like sometimes I am, depending on the game, especially if it's like a competitive game where I'm not like just laying on the couch playing.
Mhm.
Like then it's like, all right, like if I'm sitting up forward, I don't want to see film grain. You know what I mean? I don't want to see any film grain. I want it to be quick, snappy, ready to go. But
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not sitting here trying to say, hey, developers shouldn't even try to do 60 FPS, because I think you should absolutely, if you
Yeah, you
can,
should.
do it. But the thing is, what I've been noticing is these deadlines that they're giving themselves for these games aren't good enough. They're not good enough, and they're trying to turn a profit faster than they are trying to give us a well-optimized experience. So with that being said, I'm never going to be surprised that we get 30 FPS on a $500 console, because they're trying to turn a profit on that $500 console or on that game really fast. And if you support it, they'll support the game, which is wild how that works. Because if it's 30 FPS and nobody buys it, they'll just put it away, not play it. Most companies would. I'm surprised we got what we got with Redfall. I don't think very many companies would do that. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Good. Too big, and it's not the morning, but it is not the morning. He says good. He says good afternoon to all the normal people. And he says good morning to his, to his alien buds out there in Narnia. He said good morning. He's insane. What's up, Too Big? Good to see you, brother. Taye in the chat says stats say co-op has better getting more popular as per Steam data. Hopefully a lot more companies start to shoot for it. 100%. 100%. We haven't even gotten to any of the topics yet. We're just talking about co-op in games and, interest levels. I think, what do you guys think about that? Do you think there needs to be more co-op experiences in some of these games, or do you like the idea of just soloing and just not being bothered, or do you just not care either way?
Co-op.
Yeah.
You know what,
I
Cozy,
would say
since you
co-op.
got a loud mouth, I want you to go first.
I think honestly, I think everything has moved to. It seems like most things are like, PvP is the settled experience or a single player, and there's not a lot of space in between for PvE and co-op experiences. And I think that is sorely lacking. I think that's why sometimes when a game blows up and people are talking about it, a lot of the factor about it seems to be like also co-op experience. being able to play with people instead of just against them. Because I can think of a million of the other two, but co-op is something, especially well-executed co-op, is a harder find.
Dude, I miss the days when like Army of Two was a thing, where they were like, "I'm gonna take two people, and I'm gonna force them to use each other." I miss like I feel like EA needs to dabble more with that again. That's EA for Army of Two was EA. Yeah, it was. Um, but also, I mean, that's like I guess we need Hazelight to make another game. It's Hazelight, right?
Yeah.
Hazelight.
Hazelight
We need them to make another game because they've been like kind of masters of it, in my opinion, as of lately. With It Takes Two, and what was the other game that
A
they
Way
had?
Out.
A Way Out. Yeah, dude. That game is underappreciated.
Also
100%.
Unravel, which I don't think was Hazelight, but I think it was EA. I
Yeah,
think.
Unraveled is EA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Unraveled is for a side-scrolling game in multiplayer. Like, goodness gracious, like they made sure you guys knew what working together meant, and that was a really fun, goofy game. Like me and my wife beat the second one. It was fantastic, good experience. My daughter enjoyed it, but she was like 4 years old the last time we played it. So we'll have to try it again now that she's more intuitive with the buttons and stuff like that. But let me go back. I seen Mr. Joanna Dark said something fun. He said TSWF's gaming. Why would I want to pay $70 for the Ouya version with blurry ass monkey fur? Damn.
You could have
care about the devs.
Yeah, if you cared about the devs, you would support the devs by paying $70.
Damn.
Devs.
Come on, y'all. Hey, you guys in the chat, and those of you watching, please hit that like button, share this thing out, let people know that we are finally live on a Friday. Ray Chi here says something I have been noticing: fanboys bash Wukong for unstable 60 FPS, but 30 FPS for first part. I'm guessing he's saying first party game is okay.
Yeah.
what I'm kind of saying is it's the same thing with but I've also not been sitting here bashing people for playing 30 FPS either. Like I don't care, and I'm willing to do it. I told y'all I've been willing to do it.
You know I do it.
I know you do it, Cozy.
I don't want to close any applications. If 30 is required for me to not close any applications, then 30 it is.
Fair enough. Fair. That's wild. That's wild. You're talking about your PC, which is
he's playing multiple games at once.
You always have to keep Sims running.
But yeah, so yeah, I haven't really been bashing people about it, but like my thing that I'm laughing at people with is they'll be like, we got 60 FPS in this game, and then they'll go play it, and it's nowhere freaking near 60 FPS.
Yeah,
it's just like all you have is the slider. Like it's not. It's like an illusion, almost, right? Because like you turned on. Because I remember last year for Jedi Survivor, I turned on 60 FPS in that game. I played like the first third of it, and that horrible, man, that shit was so unstable.
Yeah.
I ended up turning it off and beating the rest of the game in 30 FPS.
Same.
And then by the time it was fixed, it was too late. By the time it was fixed, it was too late. And it was on a Supercell. You could get it for like $20. I was like, there it is again. There it is again. $20 for the good game. $70 back whenever for the broken thing. So
when it launched, yeah.
As Loke would say, shout out to Loke. Like I said, he's not here. He's not with us today, but shout out to him because he would say, "You did that to yourself," which kind of did. So excited to play it when you know If
perils
you
that
know the
go with
weather
it.
outside and you go outside and still decide to participate, it's on you if you get all wet. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
it's raining outside. It's your problem if you go out there. Can't be mad that you got wet. But anyways, do any of you guys have thoughts on Black Myth Wukong since we're on the topic right now? I'm not sure if yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm actually gonna go first to our tech enthusiast and knowledgeable veteran of all things tech, Mr. Mental 9R. What do you think about this whole like the PC version and the version kind of for PS5? I have an idea and that I want to throw at you here in a little bit, but I want to hear your initial thoughts when you kind of see all this stuff kind of roll out about it.
So I first and foremost haven't played the game, but I have played the benchmark, and
Okay.
I've been messing around with that a little bit, but just on my main PC, I haven't had a chance to try it to see how it scales on older hardware. It's on my agenda of things to do in my spare time that doesn't exist, but it is surprisingly demanding. When I first heard about, the frame rate challenge, I thought, oh, here we go again, another poorly optimized game for CPU. But CPU balance looks pretty good from what I've seen. Haven't messed with it a lot, but GPU usage is the issue. It does max the GPU out quite nicely. And the game, I think, visually is quite impressive, and I can kind of understand why it's hitting it so hard. But the thing I did notice is you can turn down a few settings. Geez, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the specific ones I found that were most impactful because it's a few days ago, but it doesn't take a lot in terms of sacrificing a bit of quality. In most cases, I think while you're playing the game, it'd be largely unnoticeable anyway, and you can boost the frame rate up quite significantly. Like, it's not that hard to find an extra 30% is what I found. Even if you're running things like DLSS or, FSR or whatever, there's definitely performance to be had without screwing with the game too much.
Okay. All right. So on PC, just with benchmarking it, you were able to find a comfortable spot for yourself.
Yeah.
on
Like
the
I
game.
could get, well, again, maybe not a great comparison, but with my 4090 and my 7800X 3D, no upscaling, like no DLSS or anything, I was able to get graphics that I was perfectly happy with and get up into that 80 frames per second range pretty consistently. With all the tweaks and the DLSS and all that, without frame gen, I could push that over 100. And that's on my, widescreen monitor. That's not quite full 4K in terms of pixels, because it's 1600p, but same resolution and width as what you'd get 4K.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw out this question before I ask Matt or Cozy the same question about this game that I just got done asking you. Because I just kind of want to add this extra layer out there, just to hear what you have to say. But like, I see that the PS5, had the had its version come out. Remember, the Xbox version got delayed, right?
Yeah.
And people are all saying the same stuff that they said about, Baldur's Gate and stuff like that. Like, Series S held
Damn,
it back.
Series S.
Yeah, right. But to me, it's like, once again, a game comes out, it's partially, it's not running the best, but here is another game that's not running the best that got delayed for Xbox for the Series S. Is this like a trend or something like that? Because remember, The same thing happened with Baldur's Gate. Callisto Protocol kind of did the same thing. It wasn't like unavailable on the Series S, but it like completely changed from when it launched, like to
Right.
like 3 months later. The game was like the way you reload is totally different. The way you walk is like a little different. Like the game is a lot different. But the thing is it's $30 at that point, and it was only a few
Yeah.
months old, right?
And it's
And
speaking of Callisto Protocol, it's free on Epic Games right now.
what right?
So,
Which
yeah.
is even wild, even more wild.
Yeah. No subscription required. Free for life. Anyway,
Yeah,
PC.
it's pretty insane. And then
Yeah.
last but not least, like Dying Light. Remember not even last but not least, but Dying Light, and I'd actually throw in Control on there as well. Because remember how much they were complaining about the Series S and saying, oh,
Yeah.
well, this is yada yada yada, we can't get this. And then all of a sudden they figure it out. Remember on Baldur's Gate, when they figured it out for the whole console, for all consoles, how to get it to run better, just by
Yeah.
digging into the Series S and figuring out.
Yeah, Microsoft sent some help to him too, didn't they? I think they
Yeah.
sent people over to help him out with that,
Yeah.
Okay,
which I think they should be doing for any game that's being threatened of being delayed and the Series S may have a hand in it. They should send people out. Fix this PR problem.
so
Anyway, go ahead.
I guess my bottom line question to you is, if it's not good enough to get ready to go for the Series S as a game, do you feel like this game is just there's a good possibility this game isn't ready for showtime on a certain on any of the like actual console platforms?
Yes and no. I mean, I think the Series S, its biggest issue, the way I understand it from a dev perspective, is yes, it has 10 gigs of memory, but only 8 gigs of that can be utilized for the game. The other two are reserved, right? So you got to fit everything into that 8 gigs, all the AI, everything that the game is doing, all the physics, everything has to fit in there. I honestly believe, because this game seems to actually scale fairly well with the playing around that I did. Yeah, low settings look pretty nasty compared to... Sorry, my dog's been... she's like climbing on me. But I think if the Series S had the same memory configuration, not necessarily the same speed, but was 10 and 6, just like the Series X, 99% of the problems with delays because of the Series S would be gone. Because you can scale graphics. That type of stuff, yeah, the GPU's weak in comparison, but you can scale that. The CPU's basically the same, 100 megahertz difference, who cares? It's not going to change a whole lot. But that memory configuration, I can see where that would be challenging. But I can also see, like you mentioned with Baldur's Gate, how once you figure it out and you get the thing optimized on the Series S, a lot of that's going to translate right through to your X and to the PS5. Those performance improvements to get things running right, and all those memory savings and stuff that you have to do that you're being forced to do in order to get it to run well. There's going to be benefits to that, and the devs that learn that trick, they've learned something for their career on how to optimize and do things better. I think in a lot of cases, developers get spoiled. And, you hear the lazy dev thing thrown around a lot. I don't like saying that, but at the same time, how often do we get performance patches 6 months down the road? Right? What does that tell you about the situation? They're pushing to get the game out, and performance isn't high on the priority list. It's more about, getting it out in a playable state with as few bugs as possible, which sometimes is good, sometimes they don't do so good. But ultimately, I do believe that having something like the S out there isn't necessarily bad in terms, pushing them a little bit to make it work. It's unfortunate that it does cause delays, though. I can see that, especially if it's not a large studio. But I do think it'd be benefit Microsoft to send out help. Get people out there. Sony does it.
Oh,
They send
100%.
people out.
Uh, definitely, but Microsoft definitely moves at their own pace for sure.
Well, yeah, they're kind of
Which is
it's
lame.
it's weird. It kind of adds fuel to that fire of them not taking their console business seriously, right? When you're willing to sit back and go, it's just a few months delay, whatever, that's okay. Instead of going, hey guys, we can't let this happen. Let's send, these 6 people over there and let's get this thing straightened out and make sure we're delivering on time. It's brand protection, right?
Well, 100%. But like, we just got done hearing them complain about, oh man, we should have stuck around and tried harder in the phone business. Well, you're back here again.
Exactly.
So now you need to put your foot on the pedal. And I think maybe they are, but in their own way. Right. And maybe we don't like it. Right. Maybe us as, classic console, fans of, prior generations and seeing, this is better than this and, standing on your high horse or sitting on your high horse or whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know. They're trying to, they've always been kind of this way. Right. But like at the same time, you just still feel the shock from it. Right. They've kind of always been like this. Like they've always kind of been willing to move a direction, whether it's really asked for or not. Right. Like just look at the Xbox One, for instance. The way that whole thing was launched was like not really the way that people were looking for. Like not really what they were looking for. Right. And they always are willing to try some wild stuff to try to grow themselves. But this time I feel like they just got a little angry and was like, you know what, the hell with it. We've tried it so many different ways that people have gave us advice to do. And now we're just going to do it the way that we're used to. And we're just going to, take the bull on by its horns. And I don't care how you guys traditionally do it. This is the way we're taking care of it. And whether you like it or not, got to deal with it. Ride with me or not. But the crazy thing about ride with me or not, I said this on Umbra's podcast yesterday. The way they set themselves up, no matter what you're doing, you have to go to their beach. You know what I'm saying? Like they were, making, castle like sand castles versus, Nintendo and PlayStation. They were like, let's go to battle. And then eventually they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy the beach. I'm tired of battling you guys because I'm not getting anywhere, and you keep like cornering me into these areas where I have no access. So now, if you want access, you have to call me.
Yeah.
And I love it because I'm getting consistent money. But what you got to say, Mental?
No, I always look at it from a brand perspective. And I look at the damage that gets caused by, and whether or not the perception is accurate or not, but there's a perception, at least in the hardcore community, that the Series S is a cancer on the entire generation, right? And I mean, mainly that's the fanboys on the other side, of course, but ultimately it's a narrative that's out there. You see so-called game journalism complain about it too. But I just think about that, and then the flip side being, you went down this path, support the hell out of that path, make sure the devs have everything they need when they're building their games to make sure that the Series S version of that game is the best that it can possibly be, and it gets there on time. I think of the difference in perception, because that narrative is just gone then. You're getting everything's just fine. Nobody knows. You're not seeing these delays. You're not hearing these rumors of how horrible it is. What you'd hear instead is developers would go, "Oh, Microsoft was fantastic, or Xbox was fantastic. They gave us all the help we could possibly need, and we built the best version of the game we possibly could." Now, there's going to be cases when you can't really do that. If it's Sony owns the marketing and everything, there's a relationship there. You can't cross that line probably, but most of the games are just there for you to go out and help the devs build the best game they can. And that saves your brand a lot of damage. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. I've always kind of looked at things in that respect, just from being in business for as long as I've been in big organization, where brand protection is one of our number one priorities. You always got to think about the impact to the brand. And that's why you go the extra mile all the time, to make sure your brand perception is everything in the world. And if your brand is damaged, it's hard to recover from that. And it costs you millions of dollars to do so, right? So you always want to go the extra mile before the damage happens. Doesn't help once the damage is there, you can spend ridiculous amounts of time. It takes forever to gain back customer trust.
No doubt. No doubt.
So, anyway,
not wrong with that.
That's
for sure, especially as stingy as some people can be, right? Like,
oh yeah,
once you burn them, they like sometimes you just like flat out won't get them back, or getting them back will be like, like they'll bitch and moan the entire time that they're there.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
But Matt, I got the same question for you, and let me go on ahead and set you up for it a little bit better. So with the whole idea of Black Myth Wukong being out and available, which to me it's still better. Like, because I'm at no way, shape, or form trying to say, hey, Xbox, good job for not getting this game because it's not at its best quality. No, this is like a console selling game, so that would be stupid to say something like that. So because people are running out and buying it and still in willing to play something that runs sub 30 FPS, and a lot of people don't really care about that, to be honest. They just want to play a fun game at the end of the day. So like, it's still a huge whiff by Xbox for not getting in on this pie from the start. But I got to ask you, like, how you feel about the sentiment of games not being really done when it feels like when you see that, like, oh, the Series S, is the reason that this is delayed, but seeing that they don't have it, and for some reason it doesn't work in these other places as well. Like, what do you think about that whole idea?
I mean, as far as I understand it, Mental's description of what's wrong with the Series S is correct. It's the less RAM, specifically the less VRAM, compared to both the Series X and the PS5. So, like, situations like this, I don't know. Like, I think I agree with Mental. I feel like Microsoft should be doing everything in their power to make sure things like this don't happen. At the same time, I totally understand why things like this happen, because you're selling a weaker console, and the weaker console's having trouble doing things that the other two consoles, your better console and the competition's console, aren't having trouble doing. Now, in regards to Black Myth Wukong, and a lot of games, quite frankly, sometimes they are having trouble, even on other consoles. Like, Black Myth Wukong isn't the best on PS5 right now, which would lead me to believe that even if it launched on Xbox, it probably still wouldn't be the best on Series X right now.
100%. Like,
so like,
if it's not able to do it very good on PlayStation, like,
yeah,
these two systems are like
pretty comparable.
fairly the same, right?
Yes.
You know, like, oh, maybe this one has a little bit more power here, but this one's a little faster there. Like it's very similar to each other, right?
Exactly.
They had to be very similar to each other, fortunately, right? So everybody
Yeah.
could get the same similar experience outside of if they decide to have out something extra like a Series S. But yeah, there's no
Exactly.
way that it would have came out and just been flawless at 60 FPS, but struggling on the. In my opinion, I just highly doubt that they would have. I mean, obviously, they clearly didn't have enough time to get it done for one of the whole platforms. So, like, I don't think this would have been any better if it came out on the Xbox. I think it would be running about the same.
Yes. I do think, however, it's one of those things that, and there's a lot of cases of this where things get like once the baseline of the Series S is met, things get better for everything else. There's lots of precedent for that. I mean, you mentioned a few games, Dying Light 2. I also think of like Cyberpunk, which was 60 on Series X and PS5 even at launch, but like once it got to 60 on Series S, and then they started adding, like they did the whole 2.1 update and everything, or 2.0 update, I guess I call it. But everything got better from there on console. Once they hit the target baseline of the Series S. So I also think this is something we're not going to really, I mean, on Microsoft's end, we're not going to really know until next generation. Like, if next generation we're having this conversation again, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have another Series S equivalent next gen, whether that's like an actual console or maybe they go a handheld route. Who knows?
I hope
But
it's the
like,
handheld.
yes, same here, honestly. But I think we'll know more about their whole thought process, how urgent this is for them once that next generation hits. Are they going to be there from day one helping the developers get things running on their platform immediately, or is this going to be a continuing problem into next generation? And if that's the case, then like, it sucks to say because it's a more affordable option, but if that's the case, then maybe you shouldn't bother doing the more affordable option. Maybe it's not worth it, honestly, because like Mental said, it does it does some damage to your brand when, like, granted, that game is huge, not really in our parts of the world, but like it's huge in China. So it's like you get these crazy player numbers for a game, like a huge viral game like this, and you're not part of it, and we're kind of just assuming it's because of the Series S. So maybe you kind of forgo something like that so that this doesn't happen in the future. I don't know. It's going to be a tough thing for them to navigate because them doing the Series S kind of told people, "Hey, we have an affordable option for you." And then once you take away that affordable option, it's kind of damage either way. It's kind of damage either way. You either take away the affordable option, then get people upset, or you have that affordable option and you have to absolutely double down on it. You have to, like what Mental said, be there with a team of developers to help other developers get things running properly on your platform. You can't kind of just have this thing and leave developers to their own devices and say, "Hey, figure it out. We know it's a limitation, but just, figure it out. Whenever you figure it out, then we'll happily have the game on our platform." You can't you can't do things like that, honestly. But I don't know. We'll see. I think Black Myth Wukong is a weird case though, because like I said, I think wherever that released, as long as it released this week, it would have had issues. Unless it's on PC. PC seems to be doing mostly fine. But like any console platform that would have got this game this week probably would have been pretty bad, honestly.
All right, so let's go on ahead. Cozy, you have any thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, it's cool and all, but I think this is like a lot of people using this as like some heated talking point when the reality is most of the sales of this game are in China.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like a bunch of people talking about for points. Like, mostly sales are in China.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a completely different market.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't ignore the success of the game, though.
I'm not
Right?
ignoring the
Like, you
success
look,
of the game. I'm saying most of the sales are in China. This is still going to be a
Yeah.
lot of large nothing burger for, you know, Xbox. It
Xbox.
wasn't going to garner a bunch of sales.
apparently,
I don't
though,
know.
I thought I heard that PlayStation 5 had sold out in most areas in China because of this
Yeah,
game.
China.
Yeah, in
Good.
China.
Yeah. But, I mean, wouldn't
How
it have
much
been nice when PlayStation sold out to have Xbox as an option for people
that
to
would
just.
that would depend on whether Chinese people are buying Xboxes already, because they wouldn't have bought an Xbox already just to be like, oh, let me play this on
I
Xbox
don't.
if they weren't going to already buy an Xbox.
I don't. I disagree with that. I mean, you could say the same thing about that PlayStation player. You could
People
say,
already
oh,
they
well,
aren't
didn't.
buying
like
Xboxes.
that PlayStation player wasn't gonna buy the game unless Black Myth Wukong came out. Well, it could go the other way around too.
I mean, but people
It
already
may
aren't
not
buying Xboxes. That's the
garner,
key thing to understand. People already aren't buying them.
Yeah, but I think the
but this
fact
is
that
the
those people
reason why.
hadn't
This is
bought
stuff like
PS5s.
this is the reason why they don't buy them.
I think
Yeah.
the ship has already sailed. It's a
That's
dying platform, and that's
that's
okay.
but still, to be like, hey, we're not gonna even put our stuff in the store versus like we have it in the store, but it's up to you if you buy it. It's two totally different things. And like they don't since they don't have said game there available to get, they're not gonna get it. But you're saying, oh, it's unpopular, they're not gonna get it regardless. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
the whole point of getting it is a lure. Right? Like you can keep throwing your fishing pole in the water, but unless you got a lure on it, you probably ain't gonna catch it.
The problem is that, yes, you can throw as much stuff. At some point, though, you have to accept that that's not your audience, and they're not buying it. You'd be better off fishing
Here's
for
the thing,
sharks
like
in the Dead
I
Sea.
maybe I'm missing something, but PlayStation 5 selling out because of this game. Those people weren't buying a PlayStation 5 until this game was an option. So they weren't PS5 customers initially. If Xbox was sitting there, all the PS5s are sold out. These guys aren't console players anyway, but they go, oh shoot, I really want to play this, and there's that Xbox. I can get it on that. PlayStation 5 sold out. Why wouldn't they consider the Xbox? Because they weren't buying a PS5 anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like I get what you're saying, Cozy, and I'm not disputing that, Xbox has their problems with hardware, but they're just adding to the problem with this situation, right? By not getting that game out and not giving the assistance, right?
I get it, but at this point, it is a dead platform. It's a dying platform. This is like, and that is the problem ultimately. It's a dying platform. Xbox is a dying platform, and you've got to be okay with and they're okay with it. They're okay with it. So throwing money at a final ditch effort to be like, let's see what, little scraps we can take is probably not worth the effort.
That's silly because then you're saying there was no point in buying Activision or Blizzard.
That's different.
Yeah, it's still brand damage.
You can
either
still
way.
make that Activision Blizzard can still make them
It's
money.
the same thing. It's money at the end of the day. It's money, and you
See,
want to like when Baldur's Gate came out.
You
don't think Microsoft was like, "Hey, we need to get that as soon as possible"? They figured out a way to get it, didn't they? And it was a game of the year.
Here's the thing you're not thinking about, and maybe you are, maybe you are thinking about this, but by not having the game available on your platform, they're losing out on that 30% revenue from their store. There's money to
30%
be
from
made.
all 10 people that buy the Xbox.
No. People that already have an Xbox but may have a PS5 too. Maybe Xbox is their preferred platform. There's a lot of people out there like that have PlayStations for the PlayStation exclusives that are now buying this game on the PlayStation Store because it's available today. Right? So by not supporting their hardware, they're losing out on sales. Period. There's no question about that.
Their hardware is already a loss, though.
They're not losing money on hardware right now. And I'm talking about existing console owners that may have a PS5 as well. They're buying the game on PS5. They're not buying it on Xbox because it's not available. Going back to my original point, they can't sit back and let their games be delayed and just go, who cares? Because it's brand damage. You're damaging your brand, period.
But at this point, the brand is already in the gutter. The brand is literally
okay.
in
Well,
the
then
gutter.
they should fold the tent by that and then just quit doing anything because they're not making the sales. So who cares?
They can make sales on software on PlayStation or on PC.
I think you're missing my point, but that's okay. We'll agree to disagree. I still think it's a huge mistake by not supporting developers to get stuff out on their hardware that exists today and is available today. It doesn't make any sense to me to just ignore that. But then again, I'm not a finance guy at Microsoft, so who knows? Who knows? Anyway.
Yep, let's go on ahead and move into...
I just want to answer... Rich has a question there. Does Microsoft make money on the Xbox? I guarantee they are making money on their hardware sales today. There's no way they're losing money.
They actually do, because everyone pretty much left playing an Xbox are the whales.
Yeah, no, there's no way they're losing money on any sale today. They were only losing $100 at launch. Almost 4 years into the generation now. Every component in that thing costs a fraction of what it used to. No way they're losing money on it. Anyway, that just wanted to say that because I saw the question.
All right. Well, Capcom announces TGS 2024 lineup schedule. Monster Hunter Wild, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and more, as you guys can see on the screen. Did anybody... is anybody ready for this? It says Capcom has opened its Tokyo Game Show 2024 website as well as announced its games lineup and schedule. So looks like it's coming later in September. It says September 26th at I don't know this time zone. I guess that's Japan Standard Time or something like that. That's damn, that's late over there. Jeez Louise. if it's really starting at 11 and ending at 11:50, that's pretty late over there, but I guess that's a party for them. I don't know. Tokyo Game Show 2024 Capcom online program. Get all the latest Capcom news in our pre-recorded stream as part of Tokyo Game Show online. The contents of the yada yada. So, it says so Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, which is out already. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Monster Hunter Now, Wild, and Street Fighter 6 is what they'll be talking about. So, anybody have any thoughts on this? I just want to throw this out there since it's on the
Monster Hunter Wild. I'm excited about it, as long as it doesn't have any unskippable cutscenes again.
Those unskippable cutscenes drives me crazy.
It especially if the story is terrible, which obviously it's Monster Hunter. People aren't like, man, this game has the greatest story in the world. I always am going to laugh and like, haha, whenever I see games being released for the still being released for PS4 and Xbox One, because that's my favorite. Just knowing people get upset about that makes me happy.
Got it. Jeez Louise, because
What?
you're something else. You're
It's true.
something else.
Someone is mad about that, even though they probably wouldn't even play the game.
I've never played a
Someone is
Monster
mad
Hunter
about
game,
it.
to be
What is
honest.
happening? Why is this taking so long?
It's exactly what it sounds like. You hunt monsters to take their parts to make better weapons and better armor so you can hunt bigger and better monsters. Rinse and repeat.
Okay, then. I could see
Simple
there
enough.
being some entertainment in that. Oh, hey, Luke's saying something. Cozy be cooking. Well, I changed the words, but
Bloke.
All right, so I'm trying to get this. All right, I finally got my screen to show up. I don't know what's going on. My CPU is getting cooked right now.
Just add another one.
Download another CPU.
Yeah, download another CPU, Hamathy.
All right,
From the
but
CPU store.
then the next topic we have up here is Sony Interactive Entertainment announces preliminary Tokyo Game Show 2024 lineup schedule. Astrobot, Monster. Golly. All right.
Monster Hunter Wilds again.
Yeah. It says, all right, Sony Interactive has announced, yeah, it says the same stuff pretty much as the last one, except this is with Astrobot.
Cool.
Yeah.
well, that's awesome because we haven't seen that before. Oh,
Yeah. And Monster Hunter Wild. How about that? Yeah.
Didn't Sony also say they'll have a thing for Death Stranding 2 or whatever? I don't know.
You know,
Death Stranding
hopefully.
2 on the beach. Looks like it
That's
says
stranded on the beach.
Oh yeah, it's there on the page.
Goodness gracious.
Among these events is the PlayStation presents Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Where on September 29th.
On the beach special stage, which is which airs yada yada. So this so it happens earlier. That's just the Capcom one is just after this one. So okay, so that makes more sense. I was gonna say, dang, they are starting way late at night, but no, Capcom is just after the Sony announcement part of the show. I feel like it's nuts. Like, why is Monster Hunter Wild in there multiple times?
Because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Apparently it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, it is a big deal. I get that, but it's just like I don't know.
Monster Hunter was singly, like, even before World blew up, Monster Hunter was pretty much propping up Capcom for a long time.
I believe it. I believe
During
it.
like the 3DS era and like 3DS late PS3, 360 and early PS4. What you call it? Capcom was not doing too hot.
Yeah, they
All right,
were
so-
rumored for bankruptcy and stuff.
And
I remember that at one time.
Monster Hunter was like, yeah, doing very amazing.
So I'm gonna go to the next topic because we're done with this Tokyo Game Show stuff. As of right now, we'll probably see more about it as time elapses. But Avowed here is a new topic to talk about right now. And shout out to the Iron Lords gang, and shout out to Mr. Matty Plays. They had a phenomenal interview and sit down with a few of the developers from Obsidian. And they talked about the game, and they actually talk about it a little bit in this article how they sat down and had to talk with them. So it says About is targeting 30 FPS as Obsidian art director. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames, which is interesting to hear in this day and age. But at the same time, I've also I had a personal opinion on this, and it was like, buy $500 console. Not surprised you don't get all the tools. Complain about not having all the tools.
Facts.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
If you bought a $500 PC, you would not be expecting.
Don't buy a Ford Pinto and be mad that your 0 to 60 is freaking 12 seconds. like it's the same thought process. Like, you're mad about something that you probably knew was gonna happen, but you just because you didn't envision it doesn't mean it ain't gonna happen, right? You envision this person winning the race, but fucking Brazil takes the gold, right?
They were sold it was an elite experience to have the big console.
My whole thing about this, like I said a little bit earlier, and I want to get into reading the article, so I'm just gonna throw this out there, and then I'm gonna read part of this article, and then we'll all kind of dig into it and kind of see what we all have to say about it. But the first thing I was gonna say was like, or I guess the thing I was gonna throw out there is I feel like it's kind of interesting that some developers, or a lot of Xbox games in particular, are flat out coming out and saying, "Hey, we're giving you 30 FPS," and they don't exactly say it, but we have a good idea that there might be 60 coming down the line in some of these games, right? And the way that they talk in the interviews, including this one that happened with the Iron Lords and the Mr. Matty Plays, they kind of hinted that it might not just be 30 FPS, but that's our target and where we got to as of right now. They're coming out with it and just saying it in comparison to like teams like EA and teams like as recently with Black Myth Wukong, which give you the slider, but it's just like this thing is not working right. This slider doesn't work properly. So I what I guess I'll ask that question here in just a little bit, but let me go on ahead and read part of this article real quick. It says upcoming Obsidian RPG Avowed is targeting 30 FPS according to the game art director. Speaking on the Iron Lords podcast, art director Matt Hansen called 30 FPS the bare minimum the team is aiming for. So, like, just that wording already right there tells you that that's what they got, but maybe you could get something else later. But it says it's first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames, and that allows us to get a lot juicier with VFX and lighting and all this other stuff, Hansen said. It's a trade-off. We opted to make relatively... Hold on, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because my eyes need bigger words to read easier. But anyways, it's a trade-off we opted to make relatively early, and we're really happy that with that the game's running pretty smooth, how visually dense it is, and that allows that's always our goal. Originally scheduled for later this year, Avowed will now be released in 2025. Xbox had planned a 2024 release for the game, with a blog post by developer Obsidian seemingly accidentally confirming a November 12th release date before it was removed. However, a message posted on by the official Xbox account on X confirmed that the game will now be released on February 18th, 2025. So we kind of know a lot of this stuff. So I don't really need to go much further. They say the game will be like a similar length. I don't remember hearing it'll be like the similar length to the Outer Worlds, but I do remember them saying the level designs will be similar size to the Outer Worlds levels in particular. So I mean, Matt could probably confirm if they said that like the game's length will be similar to Outer Worlds, but from what I heard, the game is kind of up to you how long you want to make it.
I think we heard that, but I think it's because they talked about it in that interview with the Iron Lords about how like they couldn't go into specifics of like number of hours, but like he said, like you can speed through it, or you can play. You can take your time, do everything you want to do. And he's talked about like how I had one playthrough that was like 8 times longer than my first playthrough, or vice versa. Kind of like, so he couldn't specifically give hours of playtime, but I guess it's going to vary wildly depending on who's playing the game, I suppose.
I just say Bethesda level long. Like finish it at your own detriment, kind of game, right? Where it can last you forever if you want to. The way that they have that game, I just think it's nuts. Like the way that they talked about it yesterday, the dialogue history that you can go back and see upon the different, things that you can trigger to make things happen in the game, where you'll get a whole different story if you go this direction. And then I'm assuming I'd hope there'd be multiple save selections to where you can kind of choose something else if you decide to later on or something like that.
Yeah. Hopefully.
What's up, Matt?
Said hopefully. Looking forward to it.
One of my favorite takeaways from watching that was that there's not really a class. You just kind of put together your character.
Yes, I love that.
That may be it. That sounds amazing to me, because there's always that like, damn, I wonder what that would have been like if I used that class. Well, now I don't even have to think about that. I just can just use that weapon that's and try to like maybe level up that part of my skill tree or something like that. I wonder how they'll do like taking like redoing your skill tree if you want to. Like that's something I don't think I got answered. Like if you could invest into something and then redact.
Respect. I don't know.
Respect, yeah.
Yeah. But that's like honestly one of my favorite. That's like the reason Skyrim's probably my favorite game of all time. It's just because when I made my character, I didn't have to select a class and then I'm stuck in that class. I've like my first playthrough of Skyrim, I played like two-handed like swords and battle axes, and then I did like magic, and then I did archery. It's all in one playthrough. And I just spec'd as I needed to spec whenever I wanted to.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's go on ahead and talk about the subject at hand, because when people were watching the video, I'm sure a lot of them only heard this part and they're hyper focused on this part. But I want to ask you guys all collectively, and I want to actually go to Cozy first on this one. So as I was saying earlier, Microsoft's been kind of just coming out flat out and saying, "Hey, our game is going to be 30 FPS," and we're and pretty much kind of hinting at possibly working on something else in the background, but not really confirming anything. And they've did that multiple times now. Which one would you do? Which one do you like better? Them flat out telling you, "Hey, this is going to be 30 FPS," and then come to find out later on you get 60, or would you rather there just be a 60 mode in the game that's broken that they got to fix it?
You're
and
talking
get you later.
I think the 30 only approach is better, and updating it to 60 is preferable to releasing a broken mode. Although you're talking to the wrong person, because as y'all know,
Yeah, you're not the biggest frame rate person.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, I just wanted a simple answer just like that from you. Thank you. I appreciate it. How about yourself, Matt? When you see all this is just the way I'm kind of framing this question, and then we'll kind of talk about 30 FPS and gaming and yada yada yada. But what do you think about like that whole option of, hey, we put it in the game, doesn't work the best, or this is what you're gonna get. Play it on PC if you want to get it better.
I mean, I like for me personally, I posted it on Twitter, kind of how I feel about it. Like, it sucks, but this is why I have a PC. I literally have a PC for this exact situation. Like that's like that. That's literally what I use it for. So it doesn't affect me personally. I also am not too surprised by this, considering the fact that Outer Worlds launched on console at 30 FPS. It's the next generation. It's going to be bigger and better than the Outer Worlds, so I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't expect them to just double the frame rate while adding a bunch of different things and mechanics to I wouldn't expect that. Be cool if they did, but at the same time, it doesn't really surprise me. And your question of would I rather what was it? What was it? Would I rather have this or that? What was your question?
I was asking, in comparison,
Yeah,
which one would you rather have? Them tell you, here's a 60 FPS mode and it's jank, or would
yeah.
you rather them just flat out tell you, hey, we're giving you 30 FPS and not really flat out tell you, but like you can possibly assume that they're maybe working on a higher higher FPS version,
Yeah. Well,
uncapped or 60 FPS version, you know what I mean?
well, I mean, if the option is you have a 60 FPS mode that isn't 60 FPS and is completely broken, then uh have the 30 FPS mode. Like there's no reason to have that.
I feel like a lot of
Uh
people run on the assumption that illusion is playing in the favor. I feel like
wait,
that's
what?
what I feel like some of these games take advantage of that illusion.
What do you
Knowing
mean?
damn well the game ain't running at no damn 60 FPS, but they still throw the version in there.
Yeah.
Like there's no way, right? There's literally no way if you're if you're a studio, you put the game out and you didn't know this was running like this on a console. There's literally no way that you do that. I
Yeah.
mean, mental. Am I off base on that?
No, I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on. There's, I don't see how you could possibly not know.
Yeah,
But you know, I prefer them just saying it's going to be 30, just to answer your question, versus dropping a 60 FPS mode that plummets into the upper 30s and creates a stuttery mess that just doesn't feel good. Um, you know, that's my personal thoughts on that question. The question of it only having a 30 FPS mode, though, is a different one. So, you know.
Okay, so before I ask that question, let me hit a couple of these super chats. Yes, the super chat button works, y'all. Thank you so much for the couple of super chats that y'all dropped off so far. I appreciate it. I got Blind Giant 808 with the $2 super chat. He says, "What up, everyone? Hit that like button and share. Yes, please. Listen to Blind Giant. I would appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button as well if you're new here. I would really appreciate it. It'd be really dope to see the channel continue to grow. I've been seeing a little bit of growth here, not a whole lot, but a little bit, and a little bit's better than none. So I'll take it.
Just a little bit.
But Ray Chi also comes in with a $2 Canadian super chat saying, with how simple the graphics look, I expect 120 FPS, which I think is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's I mean that's kind of insane, but I appreciate the $2 super chat.
I mean, not on a $500 console. No, that's
I mean, not just that, but I mean, Obsidian isn't that big.
That's like
No,
100. They
talked
said it.
about
They said it was like they said they have 100 people working on the game.
Like Obsidian isn't that big at all.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I like where your head's at. I like the expectation and everything. And hey, in an ideal world, that would be wonderful. But just no, that's not. That's not. That's gonna work.
That's one of those. Go ahead and get yourself a PC, bro. Like,
yeah, get a PC if that's what you want.
Like, stop it. You were tripping now. You are tripping. but all right. So now let's go on ahead and talk about the general question that is in Mental 9R. alluded to it a little bit as he was exiting his statement about 60 FPS just not even being available. And here it is, towards mid to toward mid to towards the end of the generation, which I'd say we're kind of closer to the mid than we are the end, but time, yada yada. But
So,
here we are, and these developers want to utilize the power that they have, and you literally heard me just read it not that long ago that, hey, we want to be able to add all this stuff in that we couldn't add in back in the day. But with that happening, you're seeing 30 FPS games on launch, and it's like Xbox is definitely like, hey, we're doing it right, but there's other studios doing it as well. I believe I seen something before the show earlier today, or maybe it was late last night. I don't remember because I didn't sleep until 10 a.m. But so the day kind of ran together. But I seen something saying that like the new Monster Hunter game on PS5 is gonna be coming out at a baseline 30 FPS. And just earlier this year, we had Capcom's phenomenal game that came out, Dragon's Dogma 2, and that was
really great.
30 FPS across the board for all consoles that could get it. So I'm asking all of you guys, like, are we as customers expecting too much from these companies, or are the companies fucking with the customer and releasing the game before they've really sought out all opportunities? Because to me, it seems like you could say it's a little bit of both, right? But like, I would personally say it's more on the companies trying to get that quick dollar and then see if you guys find it worth the time for them to then continue to support it, to then get the magic frame rate or the specific support that the game really should have gotten from the launch, because they're selling it to you as full price, but it feels like you're getting $45 worth most of the time, and they're working on the other like $20, $30, $25, $35 in hopes that you continue to play it. But anybody go first. I don't care who goes first on this one. What do you guys kind of think about this whole conundrum?
I mean, I don't think it's really any different to any other generation of consoles. It's like when the consoles launch, you're more likely to get 60 FPS. And then eventually at some point, there seems to be this shift with developers where they're like, okay, well, now let's focus on visuals. We'll focus on we'll sacrifice performance for visuals. Seems to be the thing that a lot of developers do around this time in a generation. So
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it really seemed like a lot of these decisions that they were talking about, including like audio and stuff like that, are things that they do. The way the guy put it was like, hey, we make like this is the base that we chose, but we make all the other kind of decisions that you're talking about later. Like, they literally told us, like, when it comes to like sound, performance, like, we're worried about like art and making sure that this thing can just run. But like where like how good it can run in a specific spot, we're not concerned about that until it's about ready to sell time, which is interesting to hear.
Yeah. Also, like, and I want to address briefly part of what Ray Tree said here. He said like the narrative at the start of the generation is devs saying we need time to learn to optimize on the new generation of consoles, and now it's like, now your $500 machine is trash. Here, take 30 FPS, you dirty peasant. It's like, well, the thing with that, you took 30 FPS last generation. Was Red Dead 2 not 30 FPS? Is it still 30 FPS? Like, there's a lot of great game. Witcher 3,
Grand Theft
Grand
Auto.
Theft Auto. Was that not 30 FPS? Like, all this stuff was 30. Like, it's not like this generation is an outlier for that.
But that's different. Those were games that I was going to play.
Exactly. Like, it comes down to, like,
I see what you did right there, Cozy. That was filthy.
It comes down to, like, this upsets you for whatever reason, which is fine. I get it. Like, and I agree with you to a certain extent. I want the game to be 60 FPS. At the same time, if it's not 60 FPS, it's not 60 FPS. And the way I understood it, let me just interject this in real quick. The way I understood it when I watched that, maybe I'm misunderstanding, it's possible. But the way I understood it was right now, during their development of the game, their target for development of the game is 30 FPS. I didn't understand that as their target for the launch of the game is 30 FPS. I understood that as what they have now is 30 FPS. I could be wrong on that, and when the game comes out, it could be 30 FPS. But the whole thing here is really that it seems like what we're upset about is Microsoft telling you what's happening. Or not Microsoft, but in this case, Obsidian. It seems like what we're upset about is Obsidian coming out and saying, hey, this is what it is right now. We're just being completely transparent and honest about that. Versus, a game coming out and, hey, there you go, big surprise, 30 FPS. Like, this isn't new. It's not specific to this generation. It happened last generation. It happened during the 360 generation. It happened during the generation before that. This just happens. And it's going to happen next generation too, by the way. Just
100%.
Spoiler
Especially
alert on that.
If 8K becomes a thing, if it actually becomes 8K, a thing, you can forget
15.
about
it. If they start pushing 8K.
Wait, Mental, what the fuck did you just say, bud?
15 FPS.
It'd be more like 15.
15 what?
FPS.
FPS, okay.
Sorry.
I thought there was some random magic new 15K. I was like, get this out of here. Stop.
As someone who's never been
that doesn't even make any sense.
I've never been a performance snob.
The fuck is 15K? What does that mean?
I've never been a performance snob, but I remember when they first started being like 4K everywhere. I was like, no. I remember thinking way back then, like, can we work on the frames first?
Yeah.
And this is also
being like, that's the sweet spot, y'all. Stop fucking around with 1080p.
This is also, real quick, a product of that whole mentality. And I'm not saying right now that Avowed's going to be running at a native 4K. No, I'm not saying. But like this whole push of like we need higher resolution over higher frame rate. Mm-hmm. Like when you're saying stuff like that, and that's your, like, for both consoles, that's your whole marketing for these consoles. Well, the developers are like, okay, let's target those higher resolutions and sacrifice performance. And this is kind of what you're left with. And it's not just specific to Obsidian and Avowed. It's an industry-wide thing. And it's been happening for generations, and it will happen for more generations. That's just the way it is.
So here's the thing. Like, a couple things that bug me with this is, remember Aaron Greenberg telling us expect 60 FPS to be the norm?
Yes.
Hasn't been the case at all, except on old games. B, on this game in particular, if it is a 4K thing that, we're GPU bound, then why not deliver a 1080p mode that's 60 FPS alongside it? Because I would bet the reason they're not doing that is it's CPU bound again. It's been a problem this entire generation. And it's usually an optimized engine for 16 threads. So probably fixable down the road. But, as soon as they don't offer you a performance mode with scaled back graphics, it's because of the CPU. Can't keep up and can't push the frame rate. And that's one thing where I'll give Sony credit. All their first party games, they run pretty good at 60 FPS. I think they're doing a better job on the CPU side of things because it's a slightly weaker CPU too. We already know they have a 2 teraflop disadvantage on GPU side, but the CPUs are virtually identical. It's harder to keep a wider GPU pipeline full with a weaker CPU than it is with a narrow pipeline GPU. And you can replicate issues like this on a PC easily. And the thing that you'll always see is the more powerful GPU will suffer more when that pipeline isn't full than one that's a narrow path. A weaker GPU will actually outperform a stronger one if you're CPU bound. It's very bizarre, but that's the case. So, it is what it is. But I find it just somewhat inexcusable in my mind that there's no performance mode when Sony manages to do it with all their first-party games. Spider-Man had it, God of War had it, Tilo had it. Like, that frame rate is there when you want it. You can sacrifice a bit of graphics and get the performance. So, and I mean, I played God of War Ragnarok all the way through, 60 FPS mode. There was no point when I went, oh, holy crap, that's really suffering, and it fell on its face. That never happened. Same thing with, what do you call it? Spider-Man. Didn't really have, there was a few spots where I noticed, okay, yeah, it dropped a bit. You could feel it, right? But generally speaking, it was after some kind of big explosion or something where you're not really doing much anyway. I don't know. I find it probably more annoying than most would, just because I'm a PC guy. Probably sure. more the reason why it bothers me. I don't think there's really an excuse for no performance mode in this day and age, especially when they know people want 60 frames per second and would be willing to sacrifice graphics to get there.
So one thing I wanted to throw out before before Cozy goes and also before I get to Mr. AEC Vic amazing $2 super chat where he disrespects us other than outside of Cozy as usual. But before I get to that, I just wanted to show off one more thing that I still find really relevant with this whole conversation about 60 FPS and direction and whether it's right or wrong to have it for the console and what we should come to expect just from a developer we all know and have heard from before, and we've probably and some of you've even seen this before. But a while back, remember David Jaffe and Hip Hop Gamer had a little chat. But before I hit the play button on that, Xbox Lord Chaos 78, thank you so much for stopping through, said, let's be honest, people just need something to bitch and complain about. If it was this, it would be.
If it wasn't this, I think.
If it wasn't this, it'd be something else. You can believe that. So let's go ahead and check this out. I do agree with that comment though, because it's just it never stops. As soon as there's as soon as something gets resolved, it's on to the next thing to bitch about instead of enjoying what we were told or enjoying what we got or anything like that. It's just like and it's crazy because a lot of us that bitch about it usually have solutions. We just want to bitch. Right? So like for me in particular, I could sit here and be like, oh man, no performance mode, this sucks, this is stupid. But I got 3080 PC right in front of me. Like if I don't want to play it at 30 FPS, I don't have to. So me sitting here complaining about it, not sure if I'm really complaining because I have a problem or if I'm just complaining because I need other people to know that this is like not the best thing in the world or something like that. But let's go ahead and hear what they had to say here back in the past, not that long ago. Can you guys hear that, by the way?
I can't.
Nope. Okay, yeah. Here, just give me a quick second. I think I turned off the ability to be able to hear it. Here, that should work now.
If you think you're going to get a character that looks that real and she's going to be fighting 6.
Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was back when he was talking about Hellblade 2. And people were talking about the graphics and 30 FPS with that game, remember. But here he goes.
If you think you're going to get a character that looks that real, and she's going to be fighting 6 other characters in an environment that looks as good as what you saw today on Unreal 5, and you're going to be running at 60 frames a second, the answer is, of course, no. But that's everything's a trade-off. Like, I've seen people online this week going like, what the fuck? How come it's not every game is 60 frames per second now? We're at 2020. Yeah. This is ridiculous. It will never change. It is always, what is it? You rob Peter to pay Paul. It's like, you can get 60 frames if you want to run a game from PS4 era. But if you want to run a game from PS5 era now, and you want all the graphics and animation and great visuals and all that stuff, you're hitting the processor with all that shit. So, you're always going to be struggling from 30 to 60, maybe depending on if you're VR, obviously more, because the art team and the development team wants the graphics to look great. The programmers want to be running at 60. The fans say they want to be at 60, but if you actually ask the fans, would you rather have better graphics at 30 or good but not as good graphics at 60? I think most of them would take 30.
So that was and part of that conversation. There's more to that. If you want to check out Hip Hop Gamer's channel on YouTube and also his Twitter, he has some excellent content over there. Not everybody agrees with him with everything that he says, but he's a really really cool dude, and I got the chance to talk to him a few different times, and he's a good dude. He means well. So so I like the guy. But
basically what I was saying, right? Like,
He's
lower the graphics, make it an option. That's all I'm saying.
sure. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, because I mean, what Jaffe's saying is it takes time to push that data. All that data needs to be pushed by the CPU so that the GPU can process it. All the physics information, everything that's going on, all gets pushed by the CPU. So, if you're CPU bound, like I suspect, 60 FPS just isn't an option. Once you free up whatever the bottleneck is, and I suspect it's probably just a threading issue, like 99% of the games that haven't been able to hit 60 that later got a performance patch, is what it is. I think it just bugs me that it's not available. And again, it's probably my primarily PC background, right? Is what it is. I just think we should be asking for it. And not sitting quiet going, good enough.
I definitely agree. Like, I see your point. I also very much agree with the very last point that Jaffe made there of, like, most people don't seem to care. Like, I care. Mental cares. Think you care. Or not as much, because you said you've honestly come out and said, like, you kind of should expect 30 FPS at this point if you're on a 500. But, like, Cozy doesn't care.
Come on, it's $500.
Like, there's a certain segment of people who care, but really the wider audience, if they cared, they would prove it to you somehow. If, let's say, Avowed comes out, if nobody played it, that would be kind of proof of, like, well, maybe we did something wrong here. But that's not going to happen, because when Avowed comes out, people are going to play. Just like when, on a much bigger scale, when GTA 6 comes out and it's 30 FPS and people play it, you're telling them you don't care, but you're not going to not play it. You're not going to not play the thing you're excited for. It is what it is. So it's like, he's right. He's definitely right in the sense that most gamers will tell you, I want 60 FPS, but most of the time that's not what their action says. And quite frankly, if you wanted 60 FPS, it really sucks to say it because not everybody's in the position to be able to do it just from a financial standpoint. But if you do, you should build a PC.
If you can afford PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass, and you have like a Series X or a PS5, you've already bought a PC, basically paid for a PC that can outperform.
Yeah, like let's call it $700-800.
Yep, my PC can outperform both of them, and it was $750.
Yeah, so like at that point, you might as well just save up the extra $250 if it really matters to you, and you don't want to make any sort of concession anywhere. You might as well just save the extra $250. Like it sucks, but it's like that's kind of the way it is. If you're buying a $500 console, that first like 2-3 years, it's going to be awesome. You're going to play tons of things at 60 FPS, but at a certain point, just like every other generation, they're gonna hit this wall of like, okay, visuals over performance now. We don't care about that stuff, and that's going to be the trend for the last part of the generation. It sucks, but it is what it is. It's just the reality.
Yeah, I mean, there's also something to have, like something to be said. And Wagwan Bunty, what's cracking? Thanks for stopping through, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you. But there's something to be said as well, because like I looked up benchmarks for Black Myth Wukong for my for my specific GPU. Just wondering, like, if I were to get this game and I wanted like an actual like solid 60 FPS, no problem. Then like, how would it run on my PC? And I've looked at those benchmarks, and it's like a little over 60 FPS. Like at like, with like, with the quality and stuff turned up and whatnot. But I'm thinking, this is like $1,000 GPU. That's the GPU alone. Right?
Yeah.
And that game is known to be kind of taxing. And like, sure, could they figure out something for Black Myth Wukong to be 60 FPS and comfortable on a console? Probably eventually, right? But as of right now, they even threw frame generation on that bitch, and they ain't even getting 60.
Yeah, they're it's 30 FPS, and then they're using frame gen to get to 60. And if what Digital Foundry is saying is true, which you don't have any reason to believe it's not constantly hitting that 60. And plus, you also have to deal with the latency of generating frames from 30 to 60. So, and that's in a game that's very action focused and where timing matters and you got to parry and stuff. So, not super ideal.
That would not be a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking something real quick.
See, what if you don't care? What if I don't care about frame rate? If you don't care about frame rate, then you play on your console and have whatever experience you're having. There's nothing wrong with that. Or be like Cozy and get a PC anyway and play at 30 FPS just because.
I'm going to fire up my other PC and do some benchmarks on Black Myth.
I honestly think the
See
other
how
thing
it
to
is.
remember is like the conversation about PC is like completely different when you're talking about performance because people get PCs for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always performance related.
Yeah.
Like mine is mostly because of like certain games needing mouse and keyboard as far as I'm concerned.
Sure, yeah. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Xbox Lord Chaos says us as gamers are just so spoiled in today's age. We weren't crying about 60 FPS in the 80s with Duck Hunt, were we? So yeah, fair point.
Wait, was Duck Hunt 60 frames though?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I've only played Duck Hunt a handful of times, and that was like at the arcade kind of thing.
I feel like there was a brief period of time where like older games were able to do that because they weren't
Yeah.
doing much else.
Yeah, it wasn't too taxing. I don't
Like I
believe
think the
Dot Con was.
PS2 era, there was quite a few games that
Yeah.
were
60.
60.
Yeah.
I think
PS2
in fact,
original Xbox was good with that and a lot of stuff.
I think if I remember correctly, more often than not, it was 60 back then.
It was really the PS. I feel like the PS3 and the 360 generation was obviously you had 60 FPS games, but I feel like that was like the first generation where developers said, "Okay, well, we have HD now. We're going to go completely fucking insane," kind of thing. And
Yep.
and they kind of just never looked back from that. And it's just kind of been the standard
It
now.
also changed a lot of how the market is. Like that's
Okay,
where
so
like
this is what I was looking at.
people
Yeah.
This
fled
is
to
what I was looking
mobile.
for. So, damn it, come on. There we go. All right, it says right here, Black Myth Wukong, and this is on PlayStation Lifestyle.net. In case you're wondering, the website. But it says Black Myth Wukong update for PS5 performance improvements may take time. A Black Myth Wukong update that addresses PS5 performance issue may take a while to release. It has been reported now that the game has been out for a few days. Console players have reported numerous performance issues, and a detailed analysis from tech experts at Digital Foundry have confirmed that the PS5 version needs a lot of work. Unfortunately, however, it looks like it'll be a while before we get a patch. Black Myth Wukong PS5 update could take a while as devs struggle with optimizations. Over on Reddit, a user shared a screenshot of an exchange between a Chinese player and game science co-founder and director Yang Q or Yang Kui, or I don't know. But on China's Weibo platform. According to the translation provided, the player quizzed the devs about the PS5 performance issue and asked whether Black Myth Wukong can be improved on console. In response, Yang allegedly acknowledged the game's console optimization issues and said that Black Myth Wukong is basically bottlenecked on the PS5. Reddit user added that it will take at least a few months for the problem to be addressed. So, I mean, here we are talking shortly about Obsidian's game and how they are saying, hey, here's 30. We'll think about 60 in the future. While this game gives you 60, but it's not 60. I mean, this kind of comes back, and I got to ask you in particular, Mental, because you're like, I guess you were talking about the first party games for PlayStation and that, but at the same time, I guess some of the argument could be, well, I mean, a lot of that stuff was from last generation, and they just made it better in this generation. But in comparison to like new IP, kind of like Black Myth Wukong that you're seeing, something like Obsidian's game, like here we are with this game, and like I said, it's still an L. It's still an L for Xbox for not having this game. Like this just hurts financially for them. Obviously, I mean, are they worried about it much? From the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like it. But in my opinion, probably internally, they're like, we fucked up. Kind of like they did with Baldur's Gate. So yeah. So what do you what do you guys think of this collectively? Anybody go on ahead and just speak. I don't care.
I think I'm not surprised that it's not running well.
Are you surprised it's going to take a couple months?
Yeah.
No, I'm
No,
not.
I'm not. Actually, that's what I mean. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get the magical performance patch until they got it running well on the Series S, as we talked about before. You know, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't know when it's supposed to be, like the Xbox release is supposed to arrive, but I wouldn't be surprised if shortly thereafter is when you'll start to see the performance improve on the consoles.
I wonder if they do the same thing they did with Baldur's Gate, where it's like, hey guys, Black Myth Wukong's at the Game Awards for whatever, and then they say, oh yeah, it's also dropping on Xbox. I don't know.
Well, before we go any further and before I
so-
forget, not guilty, AEC Vic in the chat
Oh,
with the $2 super chat a little bit ago saying, "What up, beautiful
Mwah,
cozy,"
mwah.
and the 3 blind mice. I'm not blind. I'm just wearing these because I mean, I guess I would be kind of blind.
these off.
Hey,
I'm
This is
quite
all these
literally
lights in my
blind.
face.
The guy that
Lights
said
in
he
my
had to
face,
zoom
I
in
got
on the
shades
web
on.
page so he could read it says he's not blind.
Oh my goodness!
Ah,
Shut up.
Anyway.
yeah, you
Shut up.
guys know your place.
Oh, jeez.
Whatever. Screw you, Vic. Appreciate your $32. Man. Anyways, appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you. But yeah, so anybody else have anything to say, Matt? Cozy?
I think the other thing to remember is they are this the PlayStation's probably a new, more newer for them.
I think gaming is. I think making a game is new for them. So
they're a pretty new studio. I think you're right there.
But aren't they like? I know, but they don't have anything else. I assume they'd have like at least mobile game or PC games.
No idea.
I don't
even know.
Didn't
that.
I think I
What's the name
read
of the
somewhere they're largely made up of ex-Tencent employees that left because they didn't like being forced to work on mobile games all the time or something. I think there's a contingency of that anyway in that studio. But
okay, so that would make sense. That as they were developing the game, that making a game specifically and being like, oh, focusing and optimizing for PlayStation would be a newer thing for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt, anything you got to say, or did you already talk? I don't remember.
Nah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's it's kind of what we see in games a lot. A game will release, and then a couple months later, it gets better. So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's kind of par for the course at this point, right?
Yep.
And we can only allow us as customers for allowing it to go down that way, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we ultimately show the industry, hey, this movie sucks. Just throw it on a streaming service. We're doing that with Borderlands right now, right?
Is it on a streaming service already?
No. But you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, okay.
Like it's not gonna be in theaters long because ain't nobody going to go see it.
Yeah.
So what are they gonna do? They're gonna have to pivot to a way to get that thing to be seen by as many eyes as possible, and that's putting it in the subscription service because they know some people will pay that $10 for that 1 month to resubscribe to hate watch that movie compared to going to go see it in the theaters and spending $200 and walking out feeling.
Is it hate watching?
Not only
if
because the
you
movie was
watch
bad,
it?
but also because the theaters are expensive.
Is it hate watching or just denying yourself of the pleasure of a movie?
I'm hate watching it when it hits a subscription service. I can tell you that right now. I'm hate watching. Because I already know I'm hate. There's no way I'm gonna walk into that movie and I'm gonna be like, Kevin Hart killed it. Jamie Lee Curtis nailed it. Man. Like Lilith was on point. Like there's no
honestly
like, after the reviews, I cannot come out and think that way. And then also just purely based on the casting, I already can't get behind it.
It was an okay action movie.
You seen it?
Yeah, it was an okay action movie. But ultimately where it fell apart was the misuse of
everything.
Borderlands. like specifically
because the name it didn't really hold that up.
I get they wanted to include Tiny Tina, but she was just like the annoying kid character. It didn't like she wasn't like, really that crazy or wild. And Krieg was like, why have him when you could have had Mordecai, who was really insanely funny?
Even Gage. I'm not sure if
And
Gage is in there or not, but
Mordecai and Brick, I think leaving them out was like a missed opportunity. It should have just
I
been.
don't know how you
before.
leave Brick out.
And the worst part is, then they could have had the cute animal with Bloodwing.
Yo, yes, with Mordecai, yeah.
Yeah. Mordecai, the crazy with his crazy alcoholic. You know what? Don't. I don't even want to think about that because I was like, I had to stop playing the game for a few days. I was like,
I know, right? It was like a no.
I was like, yeah, we're gonna rescue Bloodwing. Yeah, we're going. No. Golly,
that was
drama.
I forgot about that part until you brought up Bloodwing.
You know what was
that
worse,
was
honestly?
probably the
You know
most
what's awful?
diabolical part in that game.
No. The other diabolical part is when Handsome Jack impersonates Roland after he kills him.
Oh, right.
I was like,
oh my god.
It made your heart like leap up, like, and then it was just like, psych, bitch. And I was just like, damn.
Yeah, man. They Borderlands was what was like what's the thing they call it nowadays when like somebody's face is on something but it's not, like a deep fake.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands made deep fakes before they were like a thing, before they were actually a common thing. Handsome Jack was already deep faking the shit out of them. Like it was wild. Oh, that was so disrespectful. That's why Borderlands 2 is the GOAT, because it is so wildly out of pocket that like 3 didn't even get close to it. 1 was just kind of like it's kind of, interlude.
One was a much quieter game.
It was a very quiet. It was very, very quiet. And anything after 3 has just seemingly been a joke, including the movies. And so like, yeah. But anyways,
was good actually. The Telltale game.
Yeah. The Telltale game got rave reviews for sure. Yeah, that's a cult classic right there. But but let's go on ahead and get back on topic. We only have a few more topics left before we go on ahead and get up out of here. But before we do, we're gonna finish up and say one more thing about Black Myth Wukong, and this actually goes to what Cozy was saying earlier. Excuse me, had to burp. But it says PS5 reportedly selling out in China following Black Myth Wukong launch. Demand for the game has resulted in PS5 scalping. So I don't know. I feel like this kind of goes with what Mental was saying a little bit earlier as well. Like, you gave somebody a way to get to it, and now people are trying to take advantage of the way you get to it. That's how popular just the IP is, not even the hardware itself. They just want the IP that's there. But anyways, to continue on, it says the PlayStation 5 is reportedly selling out in China following the launch of Black Myth Wukong. According to consultant Daniel Camillo, the console is selling out across China with stock at the country's largest electronic store. I don't know how to say that word. Struggling to accommodate demand. According to the report, the demand is resulting in scalping and reselling of the console, which hasn't been common since the PS5's first 2 years. The PS5, here he says the PS5 stock selling out in China at whatever that name is, in wherever that is, Shenzhen, world's largest electronic market. It is now clear that sales are extraordinarily high, driven by Wukong. I previously reported on this sales surge, yada yada. And he has a few other tweets that he had, but he says the successful launch comes amid controversy involving reports demand sent to influencers interest in covering Wukong, that they keep politics, COVID-19 references, and feminist propaganda out of their coverage. So I think you guys get the point here. Like, it's selling like crazy. New IP, big deal. Anybody have any thoughts on it? I know we talked the hell out of Black Myth Wukong at this point, so I guess go on ahead and keep it brief so we can keep it moving.
Oh, I'm good.
I think I said my piece as to this whole situation, but it's crazy that they're scalping them. I didn't know that, but and you give people an opportunity, they're going to take advantage of it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's a little bit more of a fun topic, I guess.
Woohoo!
I want to hear what Cozy has to say about this one first. Okay, so it says here, former Zelda director led open world dress up RPG Infinity Nikki hits 12 million pre-registrations. Infinity Nikki is an open world dress up role playing game from the Legend of Zelda creator Kentaro Tominaga, or I don't know. I'm sorry. Has hit 12 million pre-registrations before a release date has even been announced, which is incredibly wild. The game's official Twitter announced the huge milestone, thanking everyone who signed up already and encouraging more to sign up. A total of 12,200,661 players have signed up for the game so far, but developer Paper Games' next target is 20 million, following by 25 and 30 million sales. Look, some airborne friends are carrying Nikki across the vast sky with their blessing. The post said, "Thank you to all the stylists for your support and enthusiasm. There will be more surprises ahead. Let's aim for the next goal together." So this is the game right here. Here's some like photos of it, if you want to see it. Is something. But Cozy,
Yes.
I want to hear what you have to say about this first.
It looks cute.
There you go.
You get to go fishing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cozy, I thought
if that
I was
doesn't sell it
expecting
for
much
you.
more excitement than that. That
Um,
fucking
I'm
stunk. I'm
not.
not gonna lie.
It looks like a. It looks like it's made for like weebs though. I'm not a weeb.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that. Let's actually check out the. Let me go ahead and let the trailer play for a little bit. They're probably gonna have some stupid. Yep, there it is, an ad. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's something for weebs. I'm not really like I'm clearly not feeling it. What's cracking, Verg Brizzle? What's good? Thank you for sliding through. But yeah, so here's the game right here. I'll just loop it so you guys can get a chance to see it as many times as you feel is necessary. But yeah, so here's what you can come to expect, Cozy, if you think it looks neat at all.
It looks cute. It's very, very cute. I think the big issue I'd have is like that human design. It's so distasteful.
Okay, so you don't really like the like main character design and whatnot,
Yeah.
but as for the idea of type of game, what do you feel about it?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's. There's no way that this game isn't like right up my alley.
Man, I don't know. So I mean,
Sims
I don't know how
exists.
to. What's that?
He said first AA girly game. Sims exists.
So I mean, I don't know how to ask this question, but I guess I'll ask Matt and Mental. Like, what do you think?
What do I think?
Are you
I mean,
are you ready to
no,
play with Nikki?
no,
Wow.
Definitely a
not.
pre-order for me.
You know you
Is there a
like it.
deluxe edition?
That's gonna.
So
No,
here it
it's-
is right here. It's on the PS5, Apple, Google,
sure it
and the
is.
Epic Store.
Hey, I'm sure it is.
So
That's
will you be contributing to the sales of
No,
this game?
no, I'm all set.
Now, mental.
I mean, what is the game?
as a
What is the
person with a
gameplay?
child, what do you feel?
Sorry, as what?
As a person with a child, with children, is this a game that you would allow your child to play?
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. What's the age rating on it? Is there a dress up role playing?
I don't know.
That would have a bearing on it for me. I mean, I don't see either of my kids being interested in playing this game. To be honest, they're more like, let's play
I
Halo,
honestly
Dad.
see my daughter loving a game like this.
Your daughter has style.
My daughter
Has tiles.
really well she does have style. Seriously, like she does. She reminds me of Frankenstein off of fucking Big Daddy. You remember that movie? You remember Frankenstein, the kid, the little kid? He wanted to be called Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Rosie remembers it.
Yeah. The
think
little
I
kid
do.
off of Little Nicky.
You guys are too young.
Which I guess
Oh,
is
Little Nicky. Okay,
is
gotcha.
not Little Nicky. Big Daddy.
Oh,
The little kid from Big Daddy, which is actually the kid from the kids from Zack and Cody, right? It's
Yeah.
actually both of those kids. Within that movie, they just played different parts within the movie. If you didn't notice, so those were
Dylan and
twins throughout
Cole,
the entire movie.
whatever his name is, Dylan and Cole Sprouse.
I don't know. I know one of the actors is a current actor in Riverdale right now, I believe. But yeah, Zack and Cody, whatever, they were in that movie. But my kid reminds me of who that actor was playing because she just puts on wild ass clothes whenever I'm not allowing, like whenever she's not going to school, she'll dress up, she'll like tear up trash bags, and like she has all these great toys that we bought her. We bought her Magic Mixies, we got an Xbox, we got all the toys for her, but she plays with trash and makes crafts out of them.
Cool.
And stuff like that, like paper bags, trash bags, plastic bags, paper towels. Just she will like twist them up and like glue things onto them and then like put it on her like head as a crown and around her waist, and she'll literally run around my apartment like a superhero. So so this game right here, seeing all this goofiness with all the beauty, and she's really into princesses and everything. I 100% think that she'd be into this game.
If my kids were younger, maybe, like, because my kids used to do that. Like, if I ordered, like, it could be the coolest toy or whatever ever from Amazon, and it came in the Amazon box, my daughter would be off with a pair of scissors, some tape, and playing with the box and making stuff out of the box, and the toy would sit there. My son was much the same way, but they're
out of the box, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, now though, she's just older, she wouldn't be into that, I don't think, as much anymore. Like now she's like working on her YouTube channel and doing that stuff, right?
Oh, but crafting is cool.
Yeah. I mean, she's still like, she's really into her stuffies and things like that, those plushies and whatnot. Like she has a massive collection.
So do I.
She's more direct focused on specific things instead of just Everything is just a toy right now because that's
Yeah.
where my daughter is. Like everything she looks at, like she'll look at a marker and that's a toy
Markers are
and not
toys.
really just and not just a writing utensil. Like she'll somehow destroy the marker.
That's what markers are best for.
Like, I'm like,
You
how
take
did
it
you do
apart, you
this?
take out the little nib, you take out the nib first, and then you take the ink thing and you take a bowl of water and you blow the ink into the water.
Yep. Yeah. So cool. I don't want to
Okay.
do that.
What? She should do that.
but she probably would if I wasn't watching.
She's gonna discover it. She's gonna
Yeah,
discover
if
it.
me or the wife ain't watching, she's creative
gonna-
enough to give it a shot.
You're gonna ask why her lips are pink, and she's gonna be like nothing.
Yeah. Why you got pink and blue lips? What's going on? What happened
Nothing.
to your shirt? We gotta throw that away.
Nothing.
Man. Like, you know.
That's what
like
you say. Nothing.
Yeah, right. Like I don't want to tell you. And with the head down. Oh man, but anyways, I think that's enough of Infinity Nikki. I think my daughter would enjoy something like that. It's not something for me. Cozy thinks it looks cute, but she doesn't really like the art style of the particular of like the protagonist and whatnot. So there's that. Okay, so last thing that we're gonna end here with, because we did hit the 2-hour mark, and I do want to be actually I'm gonna hit us with two different things right now. The first thing I'm gonna have us check out is this article, which we just got done talking about this a little bit, but we didn't really talk about the game.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really talk about the sequel, the new game. So with Borderlands 4, that was recently announced at Gamescom as a short, pointless trailer. You don't need to see it. I'll tell you that right now. You don't need to see the trailer. Unless you need to like figure out lore and you're trying to like, do the equivalent of looking at Phil Spencer's fucking desk. Unless you're trying to do some shit like that, like there's no reason to watch this trailer. It just tells you that they're making Borderlands 4 and it's supposed to come out sometime next year, which I find interesting, seeing that they didn't show shit. Same thing with Arc Raiders. What the fuck? But this article says with Borderlands 4 set to ditch Epic exclusivity, not too bad of an idea, right? Randy Pitchford, I almost said Pitchfork. That's great. Randy Pitchford. Great. He's wild enough, right? But anyways, addressed 5-year-old prediction that Steam would become a dying store. A lot changed there. That was hard to predict. Is his excuse? Oh man, Loke, thank you for this article because this is hilarious. Like what a time.
And this was 5 years ago. He said that. That was a dumb thing to say 5 years ago. Let alone
huge oof on this one.
Like 5 years ago was like
no, he was not fanboying for Epic at all. Not at all. Not even part.
That's embarrassing.
So let me go on ahead and give us more. Let's go ahead and give us more context, so then we can dig a little further into this with some knowledge. But the article reads and says, which this article is from IGN, says Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford has responded to social media posts resurfacing his prediction that Steam would become a dying store amid the announcement that Borderlands 4 will ditch Epic Game Store exclusivity to launch on Valve's platform at the same time. Wow. This bit him in the ass. So it says 5 years ago, Pitchford predicted that Steam may look like a dying store in the future with other competitive stores to the place to be, the other stores, competitive stores. I'm assuming he more or less meant Epic. But at the time, Fortnite maker, see, It was Fortnite that made him say this. I guarantee you, the explosion of Fortnite years ago made him be like, "Oh yeah, you guys are cooked." But no. So it says 5 years ago, Pitchford predicted that Steam may look like a dying store in the future with other. Okay, I already read that part. At the same time, Fortnite maker Epic was at the height of its attempt to disturb Steam's monopoly on the PC game market by offering developers a more generous revenue split than Valve does. Borderlands 3 went on to launch as an Epic Game Store exclusive on PC, much to the annoyance of some PC gamers. 2 years later, documents made available as part of Epic's high-profile lawsuit with Apple revealed Epic paid Borderlands 3 publisher 2K $146 million up front to sell the game for the exclusivity through the Epic Game Store. That's a lot of money. God damn. Jeez Louise. Let's see. That's an eye-watering amount for exclusivity, but those same documents revealed Epic made back 80 million minimum sales guaranteed in the first 2 weeks. So maybe it paid off eventually, because just 2 weeks in, they made a ton of that money back. But despite Epic burning through cash as part of its war with Steam for the hearts and minds of PC gamers, Steam remains the biggest player on the platform, and by a huge margin. And so now, following Borderlands 4 reveal during Open Night Live and the confirmation that the series has ditched Epic Game Store exclusivity to launch on PC on Steam and the Epic Game Store at the same time next year, some have pointed to Pitchford's inaccurate prediction and accused him of crawling back to Valve's platform. Responding, Pitchford tweeted to Epic that had not presented its advantages in the PC battle with Valve, something he called a shame. I'm a Steam customer, but sure wish they had more and better competition that was more favorable to artist, design, and creator than to the retailer. He continued, I will continue to support competitors to Steam and also support Steam. How about that statement right there, right?
Oh.
That's pretty interesting. So this is his actual tweet. I'm kind of interested to click on it, actually. So yeah, it's just the same thing. So no reason to switch the screen over to that. I just was wondering if I'm actually wondering if there's any pretty cool replies right under that.
Probably. I'm sure there's a lot of cool replies under that.
Yeah, there's some, but nothing too shocking or too surprising. But let me just continue. Get a little. I might as well go on ahead and finish the article right here. It says, "Get the hell out of my way." It says, Pitcher went on to insist he's less anti-Steam and more pro-competition. It's frustrating how much Steam takes given what they provide, he said. I will happily support competitive platforms that are more favorable to artists and developers and creators than favorable to the retail operation. And in another tweet, Pitchford reiterated his disappointment that Epic has failed in its war with Valve. Epic did not press its advantage, he said. A lot changed there that was hard to predict. They also got in a big battle with Apple that was distracting to their focus on building the store. I am a Steam customer who is really hoping for some real competition. A lot has changed that was hard to predict. Valve's cut to PC game sales revenue has been a hot topic for years now, but it seems uninterested in budging. Given Steam's dominance in the PC market, there's little reason for it to. Epic boss Tim Sweeney, who has spent hundreds of millions of dollars taking on video game platform holders in recent years, is an obvious vocal opponent of Steam's platform. With our typically set at 30%. Meanwhile, the Epic Store remains unprofitable by Epic's own admission. Borderlands 4 launches at some point from April to December of 2025 across PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series S and X. You guys, go on ahead, please. Just go ahead and take a step on in and let everybody know how you feel about this whole thing that Mr. Pitchford said in the past.
I think he looks kind of stupid. I think he looks kind of stupid now. That's a wild thing to predict, even in 2018. Because in 2018, Steam was like still wildly successful.
2018.
It was like
They
they
weren't-
were the platform on PC. Like I don't know.
It's not like he made this statement in 2010 or something, but 2018,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's a wild statement to make in 2018.
That's what I thought. I thought he made this
That's
statement in
crazy.
like the late 2000s. That's what I thought this was. But to learn it was 2018 is kind of like, dude, what were you even talking about? Honestly. Like, I guess you mentioned Fortnite, but like, I mean, the brand, first of all, the loyalty that Valve has built with its consumers on its platform, I don't think that's something that Fortnite getting popular could just take out. I don't think that's a thing.
I think he thought that Epic would draw more attention than it ended up doing because of their stance on only taking a 12. I think it was a 12% cut instead of that 30% cut. I think that he was probably thinking
it was
that
very
more and
friendly
more
for creators. Yeah.
But what he didn't realize is the loyalty that PC gamers have towards Steam and the flexibility that Steam gives you over a platform like Epic. And that's where I find it funny. Like, if you want more competition, the competition has to do the job at least as well as Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the reason people don't like using things like EA Play, Ubisoft Connect, the Rockstar launcher, all these different launchers is because they don't provide the same things that Steam does. Their DRM's usually a lot worse. Steam's pretty flexible with its family sharing and things like that. Like, it's a well-established and very well-tuned launcher.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it just
it's
works.
very much well known for its customer service as well.
Yeah, it's very consumer friendly on that front. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, it is what it is, right? As long as there's DRM, it's imperfect in my mind. But that's where GOG is great, right?
I am mostly GOG as far as PC goes.
Yeah, I've got a pretty large GOG library. Because you buy it, it's yours. You don't need a launcher. You don't need anything. You can just create a shortcut to that executable, and away you go. So I back up, like any game I have on GOG is just backed up onto my NAS on the network, so that I've always got it there. If they shut their store down tomorrow, and I'll still have my games.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
I think the problem Epic had is Epic was too interested in undercutting Steam and not enough in improving features that made going to Steam, that made like it alternative Steam, because I'm one of those people. I don't care. I don't necessarily. I'm not loyal to Steam. If in fact if it's on GOG, I'll buy it there. If it's in Play Anywhere, I buy it on Microsoft. I don't know if they've improved it, but that's half the reason I stopped playing all Ubisoft games is because their launcher was just that bad for years.
Yeah.
For years, it was like literally the worst
It's
thing ever.
absolute trash.
And EA, I'll suck it up, Buttercup, for Sims. Well, that's a different story because I don't know even suck it up, Buttercup, for Sims necessarily. But
See, I'm kind of an idiot. I rebought any games that I owned on the Ubisoft Connect thing. I bought them all during the last big sale that Steam had, and whatever deals I could find on GG.deals and stuff,
double dipper.
and put them all on Steam. Part of that's because now they all work properly on my Steam Deck too. Like Ubisoft's launcher was so pathetic, even with third-party tools putting it on there. They update it all the time. They update all the time, and then as soon as what I hated the most about it is I can be logged into Steam on 5 or 6 different devices, no problem. It doesn't care. They can all be logged in at the same time. Everything's wonderful. It'll let me stream from any one of those devices that has the game to another device. It's fine. Ubisoft or EA, as soon as you log in, it logs you out immediately on everything else. And it drives me insane because then it blanks out the username, the password, everything. It's not like I can just go back and go, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I just started my laptop and it started the app automatically and logs me out of my main PC. It's like, why? It's insane. Right. It drives me crazy, that type of stuff.
Yeah, you got to hit different. And Raichi just put out dope
cool.
chat. He said Metaphor ReFantazio is Play Anywhere on Xbox, and hey, that's a launcher right there that you can pay for games on that has something that not all other launchers have, and that's that Play Anywhere ability right there. It has something that Epic didn't have. They don't have consoles or anything.
Epic also didn't have cloud save, so there's that.
Yeah, there's that as well. Cozy, you nailed it when you said it's just not providing you anything to set itself apart to actually do anything big, even if it wanted to. It just, I mean, to me, that right there makes plenty of sense itself. Epic just was trying to undercut their way to it. And it just didn't work out, and it makes sense. It makes sense. And then on top of it, kind of reminds me of the whole thing Phil Spencer said a little while ago. Once you get that library like that, it's hard to just leave something else. You might add on with you might get something else, but you're not going to just ditch what you had. It's the same thing with me and Xbox. I spent thousands of dollars on games. I'm not just gonna ditch them. And then on top of it, they have other ways for me to be able to play it on the PC and my phone and Steam Deck and yada yada. And then on the PlayStation, I have a library collecting up on there. I don't want to get rid of that now. Now that I'm invested in something, I don't want to get rid of it. Right? The only thing that could happen is I get something else that has a different set of reasons for me to have it, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, Xbox is about to share all their games. What's unique about that? And I understand that argument, but at the same time, it's still I still have my library. I still have my different ways of accessing it. I mean, I still think it's amazing that when I'm at the fucking DMV, I can play college football. You know what I'm saying? Or I can not even play from my console. I could just play from the cloud or whatever. Mm-hmm. I can go to my mom's house and turn on her Amazon Fire Stick and get down from my last save on Starfield. That's that kind of stuff that you just do you want to give that up just because of a couple games? But I don't know. We're getting off topic. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to the last topic of the day. This won't be too long because this is more or less information than it is our viewpoints on it, but sure, we'll still have our own viewpoints on it because I mean we're people, and we're customers of these different platforms and stuff like that. But Matt was really excited for this, especially since he's already invested into it, and that makes me excited for it as well. And whoever else has played this game, like if you liked it, this is exciting news. So Dying Light
Oh
is
yeah.
coming out with the Beast. That is like a kind of like I wouldn't even say a DLC. It's like almost like a standalone game, but it's
Yeah, it's a
fairly
standalone game.
short. But there's this article right here from Dual Shockers that said some pretty interesting stuff that Matt actually let me know about as soon as he talked about. I'm not sure if he got it from this website, but he let me know about it, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So Dying Light the Beast will be free, but there's a catch. And I mean this article really tried to pull you in with saying it's free.
It's free, guys.
It's not free.
But it is him.
Whatever. Like if you bought it, it's free. So is it free then? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess you could say it, I don't know. Let me let the article describe it for you. So it says Dying Light the Beast brings an update to one of the best survival horror video game series. However, what makes this return better is how you can get the game for absolutely free as long as you made a smart purchase decision nearly 2 years ago.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Isn't that wild the way it's said?
You bunch of dummies. You bunch of dummies.
Right? It continues to say Techland, the studio responsible for developing the series, has announced that owners of Dying Light 2 Stay Human Ultimate Edition will be receiving a copy of the upcoming game at no extra cost. So in other words, they're telling you, hey, just go buy Dying Light the Ultimate Edition now, please. You can buy this standalone if you want, but we really just want to boost the sales of Dying Light 2. And we want you to get the best edition of it so you have everything and you can say you missed out on nothing. But anyways, so Dying Light posted this tweet saying, Dying Light 2 The Beast is a full standalone adventure that started life as DLC 2. As such, it will be available to all owners of Dying Light 2 Stay Human Ultimate Edition at no extra cost. Thank you for your patience, and we hope you like what we're cooking. It was also revealed how Dying Light 2 The Beast initially started as DLC before it was eventually made into a standalone game. So, Matt, I want you to go on ahead and talk about that a little bit because there are a little bit further details when it comes to the DLC and why they had stopped it. But go on ahead.
So, I'll say first of all, if you did buy Dying Light 2, the base edition, like I got the Ultimate Edition, but I feel like most people probably didn't get the Ultimate Edition. And if you're one of the people who didn't, there is an Ultimate upgrade, and I do believe it goes on sale quite often. So there's that. If you're really interested, I don't know how much this is going to be. This whole standalone thing. I don't think they've said anything about that yet. They haven't even. We don't even know when it comes out. I don't think they even gave a window for that. But that is there if you're interested. As for this, yeah, I'm very, very excited. There's a lot of things that are happening in the trailer that we saw. Like guns, that was not a thing in Dying Light 2. It was a thing in Dying Light 1, although they weren't very good in Dying Light 1, which is probably why they didn't do them in 2. But they actually look really good in this standalone thing that they're working on. As for what you said about the DLC, yeah, apparently they had plans for a DLC, and those plans, I guess, by the looks of it, got too big, and it turned into whatever this is going to be. And which is cool that they're sticking to their word of like, if you got the Ultimate Edition, then you would have got that second DLC for free. But because there is no second DLC, you are instead going to get this for free. So I'm excited for it. I mean, Dying Light 2 was, I told you, probably my most anticipated game. It's not the best game this generation. I'm not going to sit here and say that, but it was probably my most anticipated game this generation. So far at least. Besides Starfield, I would say. But yeah, I loved it. I love Dying Light 2, and I'm really excited to see what they do with the Beast. And they also bring him back a huge character from the first game, Kyle Crane, which is pretty sick.
Right. And just to give you an idea of the cost, it is $34.99 for the ultimate upgrade for Dying Light 2 if you already own the copy of the game.
Check key sites. Check key sites, please. Like first and foremost.
Yeah. Either it's for PC or console. Check
Yes.
key sites to see if you can get cheaper Ultimate Edition. Like after this announcement, I'm sure the people that own the keys raise the prices.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
But they're still going to be better than what you'll get MSRP on the actual store.
Dying Light 2's on sale on Steam right now for 60% off as well.
How about
I haven't checked key stores.
How about the Ultimate Edition?
Well, the Ultimate Edition is $42.50 Canadian. I don't know what that is in US.
That's not bad.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, it's about 30%, I think. But
that's
hold on. Actually, that's the upgrade. But the way they normally do it, I'd have to. Man, I wasn't going to buy this, but if I was to buy it, then usually what they do is they change the price changes. If that makes any sense. Let me check. I haven't checked GG.deals to see what the Ultimate Edition is there, but
take a look.
This is the reloaded Dying Light 2 reloaded. But
which Dying Light 2 reloaded is just like they changed the name whenever they did the combat overhaul and everything. Dying Light 2 Ultimate Edition on GG deals for this looks like Steam is $43.72.
Okay.
And that's not the upgrade. That's just the full package.
That's the full thing, yeah. And I can get Dying Light 2, the same reloaded edition, $26, $26.72 Canadian, minus 63%, undercutting Steam a little bit. So
yeah, it's $35 for the upgrade on Steam as well.
Okay. Yeah, so you'd be better off just going to GG.deals and just buying the Ultimate outright.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Cozy, any thoughts?
Games, but this is a good deal.
Not into the game, but it's a good deal?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean if you enjoy the game, I'm gonna tell you right now, they're adding guns back, or like they're adding, guns into the game, which there were some guns in the first one, as Matt says. Like he said, there's guns in the first one. But in the second one, it's a lot of melee combat and like bows and shit like that. But in this DLC, it's gonna be more focused on like guns, and I'm pretty excited to have that brought back. Like it looks exciting, and the beat, like if you actually seen the trailer, it's pretty nuts looking. It looks very like military, and I like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go on ahead and call it a day, but not without leaving before Mr. AEC Vic had something to say as we were leaving. So he was saying, I lost the disc, but I had the deluxe edition. How you lose the disc?
You just straight up lost it?
Like, how you lose it?
Where'd you put it?
Go after when you did the laundry.
I do keep my discs in my pockets.
Your what?
My pockets. My discs in my pockets, Cozy.
Sir.
Discs, Cozy.
All right, you guys are
Shut up,
tripping.
Cozy.
Anyway,
That was unwarranted.
anyways, phenomenal show, everybody. Thanks everybody that showed up. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Even if you're exiting and you just showed up just not that long ago, please hit that like button. Every time somebody hits that, it matters, and we appreciate it here at TSWS Gaming. Hopefully, Loke will be ready to come back on Monday, and hopefully, he'll even be able to stream his Football Manager game on Tuesday instead of fraud in the church and telling everybody he's going to do it and not doing it. But anyways, thank you everybody for showing up for the show. Matt, Mental, Cozy, I appreciate you guys so much. Please, you guys let everybody know where they can find you first. I'll go to Cozy.
You can find me in the club. But you can also find me wherever you find Cozy Belugas, 4GQTV, Majestic Mayhem, and yeah.
And Vic says he lost this because his dad has dementia. I still don't see the correlation.
Damn.
But
you give it to your
I mean,
dad?
that's too bad. But anyways, Mental, let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
You can find me at Mental9R on X and Mental9R on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and at Caffeine Entertainment on YouTube, as in the little graphic there underneath me.
You don't know anything about caffeine or entertainment.
Thanks. Appreciate that, Cozy. The vote of confidence is overwhelming. And yeah, also here on Fridays, and always a pleasure, guys. Happy I could make it for the full show. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it through the whole thing, but I did, and I'm glad I did. Had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, thanks again for being here, brother. Matt.
Yeah, man. You can find me on YouTube at MLX Games. Videos every Monday and Friday, and then Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the L3R3 podcast and myself, Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Twan. And then Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, it's the Two Player Podcast with myself and Am Solo here. And then obviously Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm here on this channel for BullSittin with these guys and gals. So that's where you can find me.
All right, you guys. So we'll see you back on the channel here on Monday to continue the show that is Everything Plus Gaming. Where me, Loke, usually Oshis and Taye come through, talk about what's going on in gaming, but also in the world around the gaming as well. Because I don't know, I feel like it's a little important to talk about some real stuff that goes on, and we always end up circling it right back to gaming because gaming's a business just like most of the rest of the world. So but thanks everybody for showing up. Make sure you guys, like I said, hit that like button.
Come and knock on my door.
Oh,
I'll be waiting for you.
Mouth,
okay, I'm sorry.
Let's get up out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. Peace.